Your money risks traveling and living overseas. In this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience and the experience of many expats living overseas when they no longer have access to their money, and how you can prepare for that, how you can have a plan B, C, and D to cover yourself when the bank says, no, your cards are no longer available. No, we're not going to send you money. We think you're a fraud. And you're sitting there at your computer thousands of miles away from your home country, trying to figure out where you're going to get your money to pay your bills. Anyway, I'm going to get right into it and show you some of the examples of what happens. I have several comments I'm going to go over having to do with different situations that I pulled off of social media groups discussions. And anyway, this first one has to do with USA citizens and getting Social Security benefits. And our record, this is a thing here. If you've got an address overseas, the Social Security Administration every year sends you out a letter. And if you don't return that letter within a certain amount of time, and it's a letter asking, are you still alive, basically. And if you don't get it, which is very possible if you're using a foreign address, your benefits get turned off. And I've personally run into a number of people who have had that happen to them. And there is a remedy, and we'll go through this comment here. And this is, our records show that your benefit payments were suspended because the Social Security Administration has not yet received the latest annual report form that was mailed to you. To reinstate your payments, please complete the attached form, and that's the form you would have to fill out, and mail it back to SSA's Federal Benefits Unit in Manila at the following address. Now, if you're in a different country, not the Philippines, you would send it to a different address, the embassy, whatever the country that is. Unfortunately, we are unable to accept scanned, emailed, or faxed copies of the form. We must receive the actual form completed and signed. Once we receive the completed form and reinstate your payments, all past due benefits will be directly deposited into your bank account within 7 to 10 days. And I would recommend you send that letter registered, return receipt, so that you get a copy that it has been delivered. You have proof of delivery. This is one of several reasons I keep a USA address. And this next account has to do with a Schwab account. Read the very last sentence here. Just a heads up for others doing something similar. Have a backup plan. Let's go up to the top. Heads up regarding Charles Schwab, and I've read a number of articles that they're getting more strict. If you're moving in and out every few months, going back to the U.S., for instance, and using it there, that might not be an issue. But if you are long-term living in the Philippines or some other country, they may shut your account down. Now here, I received a letter via UPS to my U.S. address stating they were closing my accounts March 20th, and I needed to liquidate all assets. I just got off the phone and was told they made a business decision to terminate our relationship. LOL. I mean, I get why I opened the account a bit over a year ago and only use it to transfer funds from my main bank, then withdraw with my Schwab ATM card, saving around $85 in ATM fees a month. Of course, they don't like losing money. Of course. The next comment, my two Aussie banks, that's Australia for those who don't know, my two Aussie banks and World Remit have cut off my money transfers to my girlfriend's GCash account because we have spent too much. Any suggestions appreciated? I tried to use World Remit a few years ago and send myself $1,000 US. And walking out the door to go get it, they said it was delivered. I could pick it up, and I got another text saying, we canceled your transfer. We have suspended your account, canceled your account. Called them. They said, we can't tell you why. The computer algorithms say that it sounds like a fraud or something like that. I've had that happen with, I think it was TransferWise or one of those other companies many years ago as well. had used them several times. All of a sudden, they canceled my account. I called them. Their customer service was here in the Philippines, and um, they said, "Oh, let me check." But they came back and said, "Well, we can't tell you why," and they probably don't know. The computer made a decision. And the next comment, for over 6 years, I've used Wise Transferred application. They used to be TransferWise application to transfer money from France to Philippines, and I was fully satisfied with Wise. Also, they give a card online or physical, which can be used everywhere with no fees. But recently, I was sending money to a friend in Kenya, and Wise deactivated right away my account without telling me why. There is a lot of money fraud out there. Imagine the fraudsters out there thinking, now, well, I'm just, I've stolen, I bought somebody's illegal details, their name, social security number, all that type of thing. If you've been hacked, or a company that you do business with has been hacked, they might know all that information about you, your date of birth, your mother's maiden name, all that type of thing. And they set up an account and send money to themselves, and so just millions, billions of dollars of fraud out there. So these algorithms are a bit touchy, and makes you frustrating when you really need the money and you're depending upon a service, and all of a sudden they shut your account down. Another quick couple of comments, and then we'll get into the discussion. And I'm looking forward to your experiences in the comment section, your experiences, your advice, how to have plan B, C, and D lined up in case 2 or 3 of those don't work. Anyway, this guy says, did that to me too. My 2 UK state and staff pensions paid into Wise, and they just shut it down. Said I had been unable to prove where the money had come from. They are scared, the money launderers, but anyone with a modicum, I think, of sense could see this wasn't drug trafficking money. Not impressed with Wise at all these days. And the last comment, and I'd come across dozens and dozens of comments, but I'm just going to use a few here. I used Remitly for over a year, and they permanently suspended my account without explanation. I only was sending money to the Philippines, was even in a tier 2 client. I currently use Wise. Rule number 1, have multiple ways to access your money while you're out of the country. It's not like you can go down to your local bank branch and get it straightened out. Unless, there's a big unless. If you have set up an account in your country that also has an account in the Philippines or whatever other country you're living in, that might smooth out that problem. And there are a number of Philippine banks, international banks, that do that. They've got banks in different cities in the U.S., and HSBC, which is a Chinese bank, I think, has a branch here in Cebu City, more than one branch in the Manila metropolitan area, I think. And I often go down there. I've got a couple of friends who have one from Britain and one from the U.S. They have accounts at HSBC in their country, and they've also gotten opened up an account here so that they can transfer money between them. And still, I know my British friend had issues trying to call into the UK and straighten out some issues with them. So that doesn't mean it's a completely transparent type situation. I know about 3 people who have accounts at smaller regional banks, in each case back in the USA, but could probably be the same around the world, who do not have 24-hour customer service, and they've had issues trying to call back to their country, back to the U.S. in this instance, during the proper time with their phone, even though they've got their phone from the USA. For some reason they're having an issue trying to call in, and get, in one case it was to get in two cases it was trying to get an ATM card, a new ATM card, credit card, verified. You got to call in to start it up, to verify, to authenticate it, and they've been unable to do that in a timely manner. There's discussions online. I get conflicting information about some people say, well, you can use Google Voice for that. Other people said, no, it didn't work for them. I have a device from the USA called Magic Jack, and it gives me a US phone number. I think they have it available in Canada as well. And I just plug it into my computer or my modem, and it gives me a US phone number. I can call the US. I don't know whether that works with two-factor authentication, where you can get a text message from your credit card or your bank to prove that you are who you are or not. And I keep a US phone number just for that. I've got a Google Fi phone. Now, they have shut off my data because their terms of service don't allow you to be overseas for long periods of time, and you have to be primarily in the US with Google Fi. I pay, I think, $27, $28 a month, and my voice, I can call with it, or I can get text messages with it, and I get those from my bank and my credit card companies to verify I am who I am. So it's worth the $27, $28 for me a month, because if you're with Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, some of the others, and across Europe, you can buy an international plan, but I think most of those international plans now are at least $50 a month, or if not more than that. Might be worth it to you to have that plan. Credit cards can fill in that gap if you're having issues getting money, cash money from your bank in your own country. A credit card can be a little expensive to use if you don't pay the bill off, but it can hold you over in an emergency. I've got two credit cards I use here in the Philippines. They're with Capital One, and they all have high interest rates, so you need to be careful how you use any credit card. But they do not charge, one reason I picked them up so many years ago, they do not charge a extra fee for foreign transactions. So I don't pay extra. Most cards, I think, charge extra for foreign transactions. I will put a link in the description of this if anybody clicks the link. I get a little bit on the first 5 people who sign up. I get some small token payment. Just so you know, this is not a paid commercial, but it's worked for me. I haven't had any issues at all with using it here in Vietnam, and even in Korea, at the airport in Korea. Absolutely no problems. So once I had a grocery store attendant say, "Yeah, your card's not working," and I told him, "No, it's not my card, it's your system." She went over to another terminal, and it worked just fine. Keep cash on hand. Don't wait until the last minute to go to an ATM machine or use a money transfer service to try to send yourself cash, because there can be problems, as you've seen in those comments. And I've had a couple of people I've met, subscribers who came here, they've got cash with them, and they think they're fine, and they month later or so, they've spent money. And this is the Philippines. Other countries still mostly a cash society. There are malls, grocery stores, different places that accept credit cards, but cash is king here. And they waited till the last minute, and their ATM card, bank card, did not work, would not allow them to take anything out of the ATM machine. And it turned out that even though they had notified their bank they were going to be out of the country, and they asked them, be sure that my card will work out of the country, in fact it did not the first time, and it took them a couple days to get that straightened out. If it's over a weekend, depending upon your bank, that can extend it out to 3 or 4 days. So keep cash on hand when you come into a foreign country. Try your try attempts with your ATM card, and if you're using a money transfer service, try that early on. Make sure it's working properly. Another issue can be if you get injured or become hospitalized because of an illness or something. Most of the hospitals here, if not all of them, will ask for payment up front. And as you're hospitalized longer, they will come in and say your account has been closed, sir. You need to pay another 30,000, 50,000, something like that. And maybe every day they're asking you to pay up on your bill. Now, to keep things real and balanced here, I had my gallbladder out. Gosh, 11, 12 years ago, I think now, in Tempe, Arizona, very large hospital set up there. And the first thing when I walked in, it was an outpatient type thing. I was going to go in. It only took 3 hours getting ready, get an operation for an hour, recover for an hour, and went home. But they said they had my insurance information. They said your balance is going to be this much after your deductible and how much your insurance pays. How would you like to pay for that? And they asked me to pay up front for that, which I did. I put it on a credit card. I don't know, 3,000-4,000, even after my insurance, I think. I had a friend who was in the hospital recently, lives down the hall from me, and he had fallen. He had some issues. Had an ambulance take him just a couple blocks down the street. Anyway, I visited him the day after he went in, and he's he did not have very much money, and what money he had, I think maybe 15,000, they took up front. They took that for just to pretty much admit him in. And then they come and said, well, sir, you need to pay some more. I think he was in 2 or 3 days. And he asked me, do you have any money? I'll pay you back. Do you have any money? Well, I'm cash poor. I don't have a lot of money. I have ways to get money in an emergency with my credit cards, and I've used them. Many of you know that I broke my shoulder. I was in for 5 days. I had some cash, and a credit card took care of that. So you want to have access to cash, and you should have somebody, some kind of, if you're in the hospital, a helper, a carer, somebody who you trust to go get the money. Take your ATM card to get the money, and because they will be asking for that almost daily has been my experience. I read an article a week or two ago about more and more U.S. hospitals are starting to ask for payment up front before they do procedures, and so I mean it's something that's happening, especially with well, I'm not going to get into that thing with illegal immigration and how they're crowding the hospitals, hitting the emergency rooms and getting whatever they need and filling beds. So anyway, hospitals are in a tight spot because of those types of situations, and they're trying to get more and more money up front. I'm sure I have didn't bring up a number of different advice, and anyway, looking forward to the comments and your experiences and advice in the comments. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, safe travels, and I'll see you next time.